Good morning, friends. All right. I think I'm set up here. Okay, let's do the obligatory volume check. Tell me if Ian, John, tell me if I'm coming through okay. Hey, Russell. And we'll get rolling here. So hey Herc. Can you hear me okay, guys? Hey Jens, how you doing? Serenity now. Yes, okay, fine. All right, all audio and pic is all good. Speaking of pic, I switched my background pic. You can see this painting right here. This is called Mama Sun. It's on velvet. This was a gift from my folks probably 20 years ago, and it was painted in the 60s. And it's one of my favorite. Hey, Nick Tronic, how you doing, buddy? It's one of my favorite pieces of art. I just absolutely love it. And so I decided to mix it up. I took switched the caboose, the red caboose, the Detlefsen print to the other side of the room and swap this one over just to mix it up just a little bit. So yeah, it is dark, isn't it? Yeah, but it is a dark painting. It's on velvet, but it's supposed to be kind of dark, maybe a little spooky, but yet I think it. I don't know. It evokes wisdom, which I really love. Um, so hey, you're all here. Or 11 of you so far. Thanks for coming in. I don't have much planned, but we can chit chat and talk about any range of things if you want. Um, is is it a blacklight poster? Yeah, you would think. Speaking of lighting and stuff, I apologize for the glare of the screen in my glasses. I'd like to be able to show you my eyes so you can see my eyes when I'm talking, but I just can't see the screen very well without the text very well without my glasses on, and I guess I could do that or that, but it doesn't work very well. So I apologize that you can't see my eyes when I'm doing the show, but I guess that's just the way it is. Maybe if I could figure out some way to make the window black in the StreamYard, I could try that, but I don't think there's an option for that. I show off. Yeah, you want to hear about the record show for sure. It was fun. I was nervous to get everything together because I wanted to have people be able to pay Venmo and PayPal, and I printed off the the QR code so they could do that, and had a few people do that, but mostly it was just cash. So and Rochelle went with me, which was really nice. Hey Revs, how you doing, man? Um, and I started actually. So to start at the beginning, a couple 3 weeks ago, I found out there was going to be the show. It's the Record Hawk show. Somebody told me it was the biggest show in the Northwest, which is interesting. But um, so I sent an email in, and they said they didn't have any tables left, but that they would contact me if one came up. Well, couple last week I got an email that said they had a table, so I paid the $75 and got my table, and I'm so thankful that I got in. But so I spent a while. It took to pull and price records. I did take a lot of records from. About half the records I took were from the shop, my antique shop, where I have my space down there. So that was fine. Um, and I got everything. I actually made I have a couple piano dollies. It's just basically a rectangular wood frame with caster wheels on the bottom, and I screwed a piece of plywood on the top, drilled two holes at the end, put a rope in, tied knots so I could pull it, and then I was able to cart along four crates. I had 8 crates for the tabletop, but we parked in a parking garage that's connected to the space. So I parked and just did 2 little trips down an elevator and then in. So that was really easy. That worked out good. I was very thankful that I had that, or else I would have been lugging each crate. It would have taken me half an hour to do it all, but it only took 10 minutes. um, to do that. Hey, Mazzy, how you doing? Yeah, that was an ordeal, wasn't it? And we can talk about that a little bit too. Um, I got in, and my first run, I had 8 crates. So I bring 4 crates down, put them on the table, and at this point, it's about 9:30, and the early bird doesn't start until 10 o'clock. From 10 to noon was the early bird, $15 to get in, and then at noon, from noon to 5, it's the general admission, just $3. But at 9:30, a lot of vendors are already set up, and they're wandering around. They're looking for to get their hands on records. And I sold. I sold. I got. I put my first 4 crates up, and then went back to the van to get the next, and came back, and there was like 4 or 5 guys at the table flipping through what I had just put up there, and Rochelle. Oh, there's another story there too. So Rochelle was like, "Hey, this guy wants to buy this, and this a guy came by and bought a record for $35. Here's the cash." And I got kind of confused, and I said to a guy who, because I set him on some records that a guy was holding, and I thought that cash was for the guy that was buying the records right then. So I said, "Hey, is this yours? This $35?" And he said, "Yeah." So I said, "Well, if you're going to look somewhere, I'll just hand you this back, and you can then we can," because he was getting 3 records eventually and whatever. So I handed him the cash, and then we got going. I got all 8 crates up there, and we were rolling. And then there was a flurry of sales right there, and I'm trying to get my change out. I got a bunch of ones, and I'm doing everything, and I sold like 6 records right off the giddy up to the vendors that were there, and a couple of records that I paid 50 cents for that totaled $120, which was really awesome. Um, so I was counting it up, and I thought, man, I'm $35 short. This is not right. So we went on, and uh, I kind of wondered what was going on, and after the vendors had left, and we were just setting up there waiting for the early birds to come in. There was other vendors setting up their things there. Big room, probably between 40 and 50 vendors. It was big, and a lot of really cool people. So Rochelle and I were talking. We were trying to put 2 and 2 together, and how I missed this $35 and whatever. And so as it turns out, so we're sitting there, and I'm I'm letting it bug me too much. And at some point, I was like, at about, I don't know, it was about 10:30 or so, and sold some other records, and people were coming by. The early bird was on, and so people were coming in. The serious record hunters, if you pay $15 to get in, instead of 3, you want to get there to get the good stuff. So they're coming in, and and it starts to take off a little bit, and I'm like, okay, all right, this is within the first hour. I had sold uh, more than enough to justify the cost of being there, and the day. And I was like, and I noticed this guy that I had given the money back to or whatever, and said it was his. He had been eyeing me from about 50 feet away from his table. I look over, and he's kind of eyeing me, and so I tell Rochelle, you know what? I'm just going to go talk to him. So I get up, and I go over there, walk to his table, and I said, "Hey, did I give you $35 incorrectly?" I didn't want to be accusatory. And he said, oh yeah, yeah, I think you did, yeah." And when I had said, "Is this yours?" He said, "Yes, this money." So he was thought he, but I think he felt guilty because he was kind of eyeing me. Well, he gave me that $35 back, and he had actually purchased other records from me. So it was all good, but my books then evened out, and I got that money back, and I felt really good about just going up to him and saying, "Hey, man." But I think he was, at first he was like, "Oh, free money," but then I think maybe the guilt was getting to him a little bit. But it turned out he was a nice guy, and I thanked him for being honest, and he gave me the money back. So we went and sat down at the table, and we were kind of in the corner, and my crates are all in. Everybody had boxes, right? So you couldn't really see. They had the white boxes or the U-Haul boxes, and you couldn't see their records a whole lot. and I had mine in plastic. I don't have one in here, but I have mine in. When I owned a little country store, I garnered a bunch of plastic soda, like Coca-Cola and Pepsi, plastic crates. They're about this high, and so a good portion of the record sticks out of them, and it's what you would put the plastic bottles of soda in. And so I had all 8 of my crates were those things, so you could see my records really well. And I made dividers, and some of you suggested that I put them in, you know, according to genre and stuff like that, and that really helped out a lot. I had, I had jazz and soul and rock pop, and I had a rare and grail section, which interestingly, most people, especially the early bird people, would go right to that section, and I sold a few out of there, which was really great. Uh, and then I had a cheaper section with the odds and ends, some old stuff in really good shape, old country and old crooner stuff, and some comps. And anyway, so it went. I couldn't be happier, and I was. It made me go, okay, I think I can do this again. This is totally worth it. And I think they do it. Uh, I think they do it twice a year, but I'm not sure. But everyone was really nice. Um, there wasn't, and you make friends with the people on either side of you. The guy to my left had come from Yakima. His name was Rex, and so they're driving 3.5 hours to come over the Cascades to this show. And when I first talked to him, I hadn't sold. It was when he first got there, and I was like, wow. I mean, if he's coming that far, and he had more records than I did and stuff like that. But if he's coming that far, I was thinking, well, but it's got to be worth it to him to come do it. So hopefully it works out for me. And a really good result of this show is that I was able to move a bunch of like I sold 3 Terry Riley records that I had down at the shop for a long time, and some ambient stuff, and some of the grails that just don't go, it's not classic rock, that just don't go at the shore at the store here very well. So it's a good place because there's lots of dealers there with really obscure uh, records, records that everybody's got. Um, Def Leppard, I mean, not Led Zeppelin and the Beatles and all that kind of stuff. And you can find that stuff there, but a lot of it's just like weird presses and obscure jazz stuff and international stuff and whatnot. But so it was really nice to be able to sell some stuff that I knew that was just gonna sit down, that I'd had for months down at the shop here, that that I couldn't, that went there. Yeah, I'm looking through I have these little tags that I price them. Uh, I have in the on the tag is, I don't know if you can see that up in the corner here. This is I'm space 8 down at the shop here, and this is the price down here, $70 that I sold it for. This is the Overton Berry Ensemble. So some people thought they would look at this 8 here, and I had one guy dig and talk to me for about 10 minutes, and then he pulled out a can record, a UK press can record, and he was getting out his money to give me $8, but the record was $34. And he was like, "Oh, okay, well, I'm not going to get that." He thought he was getting a really good deal on a record, but it worked out okay. But um, let's see. Let's look at. Uh, I just want to rub beards with Marty. That's understandable, but I do not support a beard. Thus, chin-related friction would be likely uncomfortable for me. Let's see. Hey, Nick's here. How you doing, Nick? How you doing? Johnny's here. Is Johnny here? Did I see Johnny? Dave's here. Awesome. Okay, guys. A really highlight of the show for me was that Uwe, P-Town Music, came down. He was the only one of Harry couldn't make it. He wanted to make it, couldn't make it. And Mazzy, I think you were just tuckered out from you had been down to see your son a couple weeks prior, and you went to LA. So Mazzy didn't come, but Uwe came, and he gifted me a comp, or these are recordings. This was released in '74. of Jerry Mulligan from 1955, and it's sealed. I haven't opened it yet because but this afternoon I'm going to crack it open and listen to it. I'm really excited about this. Thank you, Uwe. And a couple months ago, Uwe had sent me some VCLT of what turned out to be one of in my top 20 and maybe even in my top 10 of 74 records. And it was Funkadelic, Standing on the Verge of Getting It On. This is a really, really cool record. So I decided, I knew Uwe was coming. I decided I wanted, I took this with me. And he came up to the booth after, I think he got there around 12:30 or something like that. He came up to the booth and we chatted for a while and took some pictures. And I think he posted a picture of me and him. And I decided since I'm never getting rid of this album. So I had him sign his name on it. This is Uwe's signature. And this is very special to me. And I'm very thankful. He actually ended up getting he's a Funkadelic completist, and he got a 69 release. I'm not sure, I forget which album it was, but really cool. He got another Funkadelic record when he was there. But this thank you, Uwe. I don't think you're here, bud, but it was good to talk to him and hang out for a little bit. And what a sweet guy. Just a total sweetheart, and just one of the nicest guys you'll ever run into. He's a really nice guy. He ended up getting, I don't think I'm stepping over the line if I tell you, he got a couple of Vertigo swirls. He got a Uriah Heep Vertigo swirl, and what was the other one? Oh, he got Aphrodite's Child 666 Vertigo swirl while he was there. So that was really cool. I was very happy for him to get those. So I drank so much coffee before I got there that I had to. The bathroom was across the drive and into the hotel next door. I had to go take a leak so many times. I was so thankful that Rochelle was there to cover me. Rochelle ended up covering for the guy next to us a couple of times while he went. So it's always good to have somebody cover your records. And I'll tell you, that there was ebbs and flows, and it wasn't it wasn't just there'd be just be a ton of people, and then it would soften out for a little bit. And Low Key Tio. Who's Low Key Tio? I don't know who that is. It sounds like somebody wants to. Who do you like in ALCS? Well, I'm going for the Mariners, of course. I'm not a fan of the Blue Jays because they're in the AL East where my Baltimore Orioles are from. So, and of course, Seattle is my hometown. The game of the night was 15 innings. They beat the Tigers. And Paul, I feel bad for your Tigers. What a great year, man. It was kind of a bummer that they had to play each other. I would have loved to see the Tigers and the Mariners in the ALCS. That would have been a really cool series. But good luck next year to the Tigers. Let's see, Nick. What does NEBN? What does BN stand for? Can you? I'll answer that if you. Hey, Cheryl's here. Hey, Cheryl. Yeah, I watched the whole game, 1 a.m. finish. Yeah, it would have been late back east. That's right, Big Ian. Let's see. I didn't do a whole lot of digging. I was there to make money, and and that I did. I don't want to be. I think it's maybe a little crass to say how much I sold, but it was. I basically sold double what I needed to make it worth it. So it was a great day. Rochelle and I hung out, and yeah, it was just a wonderful time, and I'm looking forward to it again next time. And I will take her if what's this? Marty, what's the best year for records to collect early 70s? That's a good question, Loki. I don't know. I know all about 74, but I don't know. I've learned more about the surrounding years because of the albums from 74. So this leads me to maybe a little confession that that I want to make. Um, so I think I mentioned on Rachel's stream this morning, and we can talk about that a little bit if we want. That I'm over 1,000 74s. I'm at a thousand and five or something like that. And I've listened to every single one of them at least once. And there's a lot of records. Half of those records I'll never listen to again because they're just Freddie Hart and Eddie Arnold and there's a ton of stuff, comps, and it's just stuff I'm not going to listen to. So I've decided to now winnow down my 74s into about two or three, between two and 300 that I really like. So I got most of what I want. There's just a handful of 74s that I still want to get, and of course I I will always take a 74 if it comes my way, especially if it's VCLT because you guys are special to me. But there's a lot that I got, just that I got for free or got for one or two or three or $4 that I don't need to have, and so I'm going to be moving through those, and eventually I'll do a top 25 my favorite records of 74 because there's a lot in there that aren't your typical what people would think, and maybe several records that people haven't even heard of that I think are just great music, and for posterity I want to be able to document um, you know my favorite albums from 74, and I know it can change, and I can discover new stuff and get tired of other stuff, but um, yeah, so I am now sort of officially not not trying to get all the 74s. 1,005 is plenty. I'll still get a few more. I still want to get. I think Scorpions "Fly to the Rainbow" is one that I want to that I'm still looking for, and I have a want list on Discogs that I'm trying to fill out a little bit, but as far as just garnering all of the 74s, I think I've climbed the mountain. I've reached the summit, my own summit, I guess, defined. But I'll Yeah. So what I did yesterday is I w- I d- I dug around a little bit, and the one that I found that I was the happiest about is I collect living stereo. I've got about 140 of them, and I got this one, the Happy Oregon, Dave Cortez. I haven't listened to it yet, but I'm really excited about it. It's in great shape, and I'm still. And these are, this was $10. So some of them, and this is an LSP, and there's LSCs. Anthony Audiophile knows about all about that kind of stuff. The LSCs are the classical stuff, and there's some stuff that's pretty pricey. Uh, but for the most part, they're under $10, and a lot of times you can get them for just a few bucks. And I just love the all the artwork and this banner and everything that goes along with this series that RCA Victor put out. There's just something that really appeals to me about it. I just think they're a time capsule, and the music is so good. I really like easy listening. I mean, the Henry Mancini stuff is really good. And there's all sorts of there's some Chet Atkins stuff that's really good. So there's just some really cool stuff. So this was really fun for me to find. And of course, there wasn't a whole lot of this stuff there because it's not what people typically look for. But I did find probably I think I found 5 living stereos while I was there, and so that was cool. Uh, let's see. Okay. Any questions at all? What else can I say? Oh, about a week ago, I ordered. Some of you have seen the red Roland keyboard that I have, and I've had it for I don't know 4 years or so, and I absolutely love it. It's just a Go Keys. It takes batteries. I had When I was doing long haul trucking, I had it in the truck with me. It's got speakers in it, and it's just really cool, and I really liked it. But it broke on me, and so I got my money's worth out of it over and over again, and so I decided to order the update, the Go Keys 5, and I ordered it, and it's just not anything. It's a little bit bigger. I mean, it sounds good, but it's just not like the one that I had. So, and it's not cheap. Um, and so I boxed it up and I'm returning it to Amazon. And fingers crossed. I mean, I have got it all taped, but only opened it and looked it over and whatever. And I think, do any of you have any of you had experience returning things that you've opened to Amazon? Um, you know, I it's supposed to be picked up by UPS tomorrow, and it looks, I have all the wrapping and everything, and I put it back exactly the way I took it out. Um, okay, John, Amazon, whoops, missed that. Amazon will return anything. Okay, it's never a problem. Okay, okay. I'm a little bit nervous because, it's over $500, and so I was just like, I don't know if if you use it, if you open it, what's the deal? I mean, it's exactly like it was. All I did is plug it in and go through the settings and all that kind of stuff just to see if I liked it. So, okay, I won't worry about it, and I'll hopefully it will turn out okay. Um, okay, Anthony, many always fulfilled so many bad pressings. Oh, okay. All right. Um, what is I got it delivered on the 4th. So is it within 30 days? Is that I'm not sure what the return period is. But what is today, the 13th? The 12th. And so it'll be picked up tomorrow on the 13th. So hopefully, it'll be 10 days or whatever, 9 days, 30 days. Okay. I should be safe then. Um, Johnny, you don't have a wrench. Um, I'll get you a wrench, my friend. You deserve a wrench. Let's see here. See if I can do this. Add as a moderator. Standard. Okay, you're all hooked up, Johnny. Thanks for being here, by the way. Um, Herc says, I return records to Amazon all the time if they're defective anyway. That's the only reason I order from them to begin with. Okay. Hopefully this isn't this, returning a musical instrument will be okay. Yeah, John, I have the chat open on YouTube, and I just click on the name, and it gives me a bunch of options, and then it says add moderator. Um, so speaking of Dagon, I think at some time over this fall and winter, we're gonna do maybe a live jam kind of hangout. John, you're working on the details with the software and whatnot, but I think that'll be kind of fun. John, are you still going to do your morning show? And how are you feeling, man? How I don't want to divulge anything that I shouldn't, but I hope you're doing good, and I hope everything's working out for you. Uh, Joe, I really enjoy record shows. Never sold at one. To one next week. Are you selling, Joe, or are you going? Or are you just going to visit? I would, I can recommend selling. I don't know how anyone would compare to this one, but it was totally worth it for me. Hey, my bro, Yvonne is here from Norway. I'm on the road again, listening to you in the car. Okay, that's cool. Yvonne, you should be getting a package here before too long from me. Chris is here. I must be invisible on these chats. You're not invisible, Chris. You're here. I see you. I see you. Excuse me. I got the half and half phlegm in my throat again. Um, Bill, I don't know. I can't go to Seattle next week. I'd love to. I mean, and something could change, but I may be actually trucking out of state next weekend. We'll have to see what the boss has in store for me. Hey, look who's here. Uh, yes, I only spent about $20 yesterday on records. I got a bunch of dollar records and didn't do a whole lot of digging. So yeah, I didn't spend a lot of money, but I did find a few that I liked that were really fun. Um, Okay, let's see here. Uh, Revs, Marty, are there artists or groups you discovered from the 74 LPs that led to a discography deep dive? Yes, 10cc for sure. That's probably the big one that I think I have. I think I have all their stuff now. Their 74 release sheet music is is in my top 10. It's I've said this before, but I kind of think for me, I kind of feel like they're what the Beatles, they're kind of Beatley if the Beatles would have kept going. Um, just kind of creative. They're all four of them are lead singers and multi-instrumentalists. Um, and I really like Deceptive Bends, Bloody Tourists. They're just 10cc is fantastic. They didn't get really big in the States. They had the two hits, The Things We Do for Love and I'm Not in Love. But but they're fantastic. Um, I had Paul, I had a Godly and Cream album for a little while. But I didn't get into it a whole lot. I probably should give it another listen, um, and see. They, yeah, they they were the 2 of them split off and ended up becoming, pretty successful, producers of music videos, I think, if that's right. Is that right? I think so. And then 2 of them stayed on with, so the later albums are just 2 of the guys with a band and stuff like that. Um, so let's see. Uh, do you think they're inconsistent? Really? Um, maybe. I mean, they're different, but there is some uniformity there in some stylings, I think. Um, yeah. Uh, yep, 2 great hits. I'm Not in Love is like a that's such an awesome song to put on the turntable. I watched a video about how they made that layering their voices like 60 times, over and over and over and over until they get that harmonies. There's a really good live uh, live video on YouTube of that song. That sounds that actually it's it's from the 70s, but the audio quality is really good. Um, yeah, yeah, perfect. I think they're pretty close to perfect. I I really like them. Yeah. Um, Oh yeah, Uwe. The Uwe came down, with his wife and he got to go to the show, and his wife was hanging out with her friend, so they had kind of a double date kind of a thing. Have a great time, Uwe, and, it was so good to see you. Best wishes to you and your wife and your son's success down in San Diego. He's a soccer player, so he was telling me about that. It was really exciting to hear about his son's big adventure on his own, which is really cool. Um, expensive is what expensive? I missed something up above. Oh my! Did you hear that? I got my belly's gurgling. Let's see here. All right. Um, copy. Let's see there. Okay. Whoops. So maybe I'll talk a little bit about Rachel's stream this morning and kind of like the last little while on Rachel's streams. Um, it's kind of been I think that a lot of people have kind of drawn a line, or a handful of people have kind of drawn the line um, because of her over the top rhetoric and the way she handles disagreement. And I kind of go back and forth between, is it Rachel just being Rachel? Is it is it is it an act? Um, is it is it no, I didn't get the Zombies LP, Johnny. Is she is she really that, does she really feel what she does, how she is it a character that she's portraying? But, um, okay, Loki, you don't agree? Can what, what don't you agree on? Type it in the comments below. Yeah, Bill, it and I don't know how to get around that. I don't know how to, um I mean, I enjoy talking politics, for the most part, but when I can't when it's not done in kind of a rational or so the world is full of people who look for things to confirm their already held positions. And when all that you do is look for that confirmation, you're not going to learn a whole lot. You know, you're not going to, hey, bud, you're not going to, you're just not going to get anywhere. Don't you think? And I don't know. I've said it over and over again. I really try to falsify my own. I was 20 and 74. I know, Uncle Mazzy. I know. So I I think I may be coming to that point a little bit where if I can't have a rational discussion over some of these things that we disagree with, it's just I really struggle between the show of it all and having fun and really things that, like I took issue with what Trump is saying about my beloved city of Portland. And I just don't and then she shows those videos from 5 years ago and this kind of stuff, and she never really addressed whether she thought it was okay for Trump to say those lies, those just blatant lies to justify the what the administration is doing. What do your thoughts, Mazzy?
I'm just here to talk about the music from 1974. I'm not here to talk politics and destroy your channel and
Okay,
argue. So
that's okay.
1974, 20 years old, I was in
Yeah,
love. I was in love.
you were in love. You were
I
not in love
was
according to
young and in
Tim
love,
TV.
going to San Francisco State, working in a record store. It was a blissful splendor of life, going to shows at Winterland, seeing live music, living in that wonderful city near Golden Gate Park. I just moved out of the house that year from my parents earlier in 74. So when I was 19, you know, so
Do you remember the what it was like to be on your own, like, when you first moved out? Can you relay some of the
well,
thoughts of
well,
having that kind of
first of
freedom?
yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, I mean, my parents lived close by, so it wasn't like I was moving across the country. And I'm
Yeah,
an only child, and I grew up with my parents and my grandmother lived with us too. And so they gave me a lot of freedom considering, my generation and my parents' generation are a lot further away than me and my son. I mean,
yeah,
we didn't listen to the same music and all that stuff, but we got along pretty good and they were very supportive. And I wasn't a fuck up. I wasn't a big drug user or what, not that that's necessarily a fuck up, but
yeah,
I was the worst thing that we would argue about is when I had long hair and they wanted me to cut my hair. But
yeah, they're not bailing you out of jail.
no, exact. Well, they didn't. They would have obviously, but they
Sure, sure, they
didn't
didn't
have
have to. Yeah.
so I didn't move that far away. I moved in with the guy I met, what I referred to as Jazz Shit Brooks. We got an apartment together. And I mean, you always hear about the times now are fucked up in terms of
Hey, Jack.
just the, what things cost now compared to what you make and everything. Cause think about this. We had a 2-bedroom apartment we got. It was in the inner Sunset near Golden Gate Park, a block from the record store I worked at. $220 a month for a 2-bedroom apartment. Okay. So 110 a piece. College, one semester at San Francisco State University was about $300 for 15 units, right?
Yeah.
So it wasn't, educational loans and expensive.
It didn't seem expensive at the time?
No, and we had cars. We parked. We
Yeah.
went out to dinner. We went to shows, and we had a little money. We didn't save a ton, but it
We had
wasn't.
Pintos.
I had a Pinto, yes, but
Yeah.
so it wasn't the stretch like now you can barely afford your car insurance and you can or some people everything is a stretch. You know, again, I probably made what, $3.50 an hour, you know? So for 2 hours of work, most people could buy a record. That's at minimum wage. If you had a better job, it'd be better. So when we talk about record prices now, Seattle's one of the highest. We're like $20, whatever, an hour now. So for 2 hours of work, you could buy a record. Problem is, your rent is $3,000 or more a month in a city. It's crazy. It's crazy. So, the perspective, I don't know, it's all off now today, but I love that time. It was great. Every once in a while we drive to LA. My guy buddies and I, in the summertime, almost every other weekend we'd go camping. We weren't major backpacking, but we'd go.
You go north of town?
Well, we go to
Mhm.
the San Mateo Mountain, San Mateo County, above like La Honda, like where Neil Young's ranch was, that area.
Okay.
But a lot of times, you're right. We go to north and we go to Stanislaus. We go to this, not the Yosemite, but the Pinnacles. We weren't backpackers, but we were pulling off camping, have a big tent. The guys were hanging out on the weekend, and we went a lot to near Stinson Beach. Well, actually north. That whole coastal thing up on the way to Mendocino and up Highway
Was
1.
Half Moon Bay hang out at that time?
Yeah, we'd go down Half Moon Bay, but I mean, yeah, we'd go down Pacifica, across Devil's Slide to Half Moon Bay and Montera, and down all the way south, and then cut across again, go over the mountains to where La Honda was, and camping up there too. But it wasn't like way off. A couple times I'd go we'd go to places maybe up to barely to Oregon or Northern California, Eel River and the things
Mhm.
like that. But I wasn't one of those backpackers where I was going, 20 miles off the grid. I wasn't doing
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But, I was what, 17, 18, 19. I mean, I graduated college at 17 and a half. I graduated in January, so early, and I went right into San Francisco State in February of that year. So
Do you have a story about the first time you dropped acid?
I only dropped acid 3 times, and it was great. I wouldn't say it was like a life-changing experience. I enjoyed it, and then I stopped because I've never been a big drug user. Later,
Mm,
of course, I should, there was about a 5-year period in the record business starting around 76 where people were doing coke. Coke to me is evil, but I did it for about 5 years.
sure.
Not a lot,
Yeah,
but
everybody
you go on
did.
a weekend, you do it. That rots your brain. That's not good. But I did like mushrooms. That's the one I kinda liked at the time.
Okay.
It's organic.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I was never a big druggie, like, to
Yeah.
this day, I don't smoke at all. I can't smoke. I might take a gummy 3 times a year, but I like a
Mhm.
good cocktail, so that's
Yeah,
what.
yeah. Hey, oh, speaking of, tell me, okay, have you cracked that Silverton gin? Is it bad?
That's the one you gave me. I don't know I don't know if I have, to be honest with you. You know, that all these people brought gin that time.
I bet you have a whole cupboard full of people
I
who have given you
is
gin.
this the one?
Yeah, Abaquois, Gallen
Yeah,
House.
yeah,
That
I had a little bit
that's
of it.
a covered, bridge about a mile from my house.
Yeah, it was good. I made it to I forgot what I made it into because it's just barely used so far.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
I,
I think I usually finish what I have and then
I have no opinion on it because I haven't tried it. They make a vodka too that's really good here in just outside of town. Um, so yeah, yeah, that's good.
hey, Loki, I was mild compared to a lot of guys I went to high school with in terms of I was pretty a straight. I wouldn't say a straight arrow, but it was the music, and it always has been the music. And I know it's a cliche maybe, but going to Winterland almost every other week, sometimes twice a week, all those bands, that was the thing. And it was like tickets were $4 or $5, $6 tops. And also we get free tickets from the store. So, you see everything. So it was a good time.
Let's see here.
Anyway, I was at Portland 2 weeks ago, whatever, and it was peaceful and beautiful and wonderful. As I said earlier, Seattle, even when we had the chop zone bullshit, that was 2 block area. That was a mess, And so I agree with you about, showing footage from 5, 6 years ago. And again, if a governor or a mayor requests from the federal government, the National Guard, that's when they should be brought in,
Yeah.
not totally independent, you know?
Yeah. And this is, I can't speak to what things are like in DC or Chicago or
No.
whatever, like I can, but I know Portland. It's my home city,
Yeah.
or
My son lives there too. Yeah.
yeah. And it's just so blatant, the lies. And so I know firsthand that it's a load of BS. And to hear Rach defend that, it's just, when she does it, she loses that credibility for me. And not that I had a whole lot in politically, we have that religious past together. So we've experienced a lot of things that we can kind of speak that language. But yeah, I don't know. It seems like she cares less about her show now, especially like the Patreon. It seems like she's not. I don't know. I know she said before that she's just in it for the money or whatever, but I always kind of thought that was a little bit of
Yeah.
a joke.
I don't know. I can't judge or speak about any of that, but I know, I mean, I was brought up, I taught Sunday school. I went to Israel. I taught Sunday school. I was
Yeah.
somewhat of a Zionist. I was religious in that respect in Judaism. Obviously, it's shifted like you. The cultural part of Judaism I adore and I
Yeah.
love to this day. I'm not religious. I'm agnostic. So
Yeah.
it's basically it's really hedging your bets just in case,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
But I don't like when people, even in the religion that I subscribe to, use it as an absolute and that everything. I mean, there was a time, the whole thing growing up and you hear about, oh, Jews, you can't have bacon, it's kosher and stuff. There was a
Yeah.
time, there
Yeah.
was a reason for it. You would die of trichinosis or something.
Right.
There's
Right.
no reason for it. Now, there's other things too that I'm even not aware of in my religion. I just think it's I care about Israel. I don't like the leaders of it, and I think they've really turned a lot of people off. Americans aren't really all with Israel like they used to be.
Oh,
As a
they're
whole.
certainly not. They're
No,
certainly not. And in
and it's
fact,
because of the policies
yeah,
of
it's
the
getting
people
less and
leading it.
less.
Yeah, the
Indeed.
people. Yeah,
And there's these group of people like Rachel, they don't seem to be able to distinguish between Hamas and the population in Palestine.
right. And
You
you
know,
have to start somewhere. And having said that, the people that have pushed themselves in to lead Palestine, these terrorist groups, have really fucked it up for the people there for many decades since the
yeah,
beginning.
they
Because
really
there
have.
have been
Yeah.
several times we've been close to, not maybe super close, but to get a Palestinian state. And usually, and I hate to say it, it's on the Arab side, these Arab terrorists will assassinate an Arab or a Jew who are trying to bring peace for
Yeah.
them.
There's a lot to be said for jihadism and the philosophy that Israel needs to be destroyed. But when I listen to the rhetoric coming from people who are on the other side too, they may not be saying, "I want to wipe out uh, the nation of Israel," like a lot of the religious leaders in the Muslim world do. But if you look at some of our evangelical leaders and they say the same thing. They say, it's a spiritual battle between between the Muslims and the Christians, and we need to eradicate them or subjugate them at the very least. And yeah, so when the thing is, when you bring religion into it, you can't argue against it, right? Because it can't be falsified.
Right.
So I can justify, like Rachel said, she can justify kicking people in the balls and telling people to go to hell, with scripture, and of course I can justify scripture in the complete opposite direction. And there's nothing and so those people, they can't be convinced of anything. Their heart has to change. They have to learn to see things differently. And I kind of hold out hope that that Rachel will. I don't know. I think she may be just too proud to. The one thing that's really, really difficult for evangelicals to admit is that they're wrong about something. It's almost impossible. That their eternal soul is at stake when you're in the position where you're questioning whether you're going to live forever in paradise or not. um, and we're aware of our own death. I've said this before. It really makes it difficult to question your
Well,
position.
what's interesting is how can anyone like support any one person that they're infallible? Like Trump can do no wrong, and if Trump
Yeah,
switches, you still follow him. Now, I've said this: there's a lot of Democrat. I think Biden did some fucked up things, but I
sure.
think on the whole, he did some good things, and he meant to do good things. And you know, he gets senile at the end. He should have, quit a year earlier. Then people would have been pissed off because Kamala would have been president. But I think that would have been a better thing personally. So I don't support that. Democrats, if they get indicted for something and they're guilty, they're proven guilty, I don't support that. So I'm not supporting someone just because they happen to be a Democrat or happen to be a Jew or happen to be, like Jesus can do no wrong. Yet all these people are not, they don't support all the teachings of what I know about Jesus, of the teachings. I mean, he'd be fucking freaked out about how immigrants, but it's the law and people shouldn't cross the borders. Absolutely. But
Yeah.
come up with a good policy. And we've been close to good policies a few times, bipartisan policies, and a segment, and unfortunately, they're mostly on the right, have detonated those policies. We need a good immigration, a right to citizenship, a
Right,
path.
like we had one that Lankford, the Republican, had put together with Biden for the border down there, and Trump had it killed so he could campaign on it.
But the people against that said, well, they should do that. There's laws already. We shouldn't do that. But that's the compromise. That's what
Yeah.
compromises do.
Yeah.
You need to negotiate. Like now with this fucking government shutdown, the only thing the Democrats want is to keep the Obamacare subsidies so a lot of people who can't afford insurance can get insurance. And when they do this bullshit, no, they're giving immigrant health care. They are
That's
not.
a total
The only
lie.
thing is
Yeah.
when you go into, and this is a factual thing. When you go into an ER, no matter whether you're white, black, legal, cannot turn you down if you're
Right.
in an ER, and they don't ask you if you're a citizen or not. So in that case, some illegals will get covered by emergency care that we
Yeah.
all pay into.
As will citizens who don't have health insurance.
Exactly.
Yeah,
People who don't,
absolutely.
that's what ER is, but they're not giving them Medicare or Medicaid to illegals. That's not, they don't get the subsidies. So
Exactly.
that is a falsehood, fake news, lying.
But humans have evolved to a point where we realize that we are entitled to health to some degree, and we've legislated that law that they can't turn people away because it's compassionate, and we think people
Wouldn't
should have
Jesus
care.
say that? Those of you who believe in
Absolutely.
Jesus, I mean, I
Absolutely.
believe that Jesus existed. He's a Jew. He
Yeah.
was a Jew. I mean, we don't believe he's the son of God, but if you believe it, if that's your faith, all the power to
Yeah.
you. Just don't push it on me.
But you can, there's a story in the Bible where Jesus goes into the temple and he overturns the tables of the money changers and whatever. And so
I saw the movie.
they use that one little story to justify all sorts of terrible and wrathful deeds against. Like I said, you can justify anything. You can make Jesus into a militant that wants to oppress people that don't follow him or disagree, and it's unfortunate. There's a group of people called dominionists, and they believe that Christians are supposed to have dominion, and that the Christian nationalists believe that Christ has a special place for the American country, and that we're to instigate these certain things, and that we're more blessed above other nations, and it's just complete
I
lunacy.
was I
Johnny,
was
how you
I was
doing,
just
man?
I was just reminiscing when Mazzy was talking about back the old days, 1974 and all that. I was like 17, and I was thinking to myself, boy, I remember back then too when I was in high school, and I always borrowed my dad's car going to high school. I thought I was a big shot.
What kind
I
of a car
and
was it?
it
Tell us
was a Pontiac, uh,
like a Le
something
Mans
like a Pontiac
or a Skylark?
Capri or
Oh, no,
something.
it's Buick. Capri, okay. That would
Yeah,
be
something like
Mercury.
that, right?
Mercury than a Capri, but maybe not.
Something like that, right? A
Yeah.
Pontiac something or whatever. But it had a big back seat, stuff like that. That's all I cared about when I was 17. But the thing is, I remember because it was only a plain radio he had on in the car. So I was kind of like a little bit of a troublemaker, not big troublemaker, but but so I thought, shit, I'm gonna see if I can find two big speakers to put in the back
Oh,
in the rear window. So I ended up wiring these two big speakers and hooking up to his radio. Oh, he got mad at me because it was his car, but I wanted the sound to come out of the going to high school, and I'm listening to the, like Nazareth and all that, blaring. Thought I was a big shot, but I was just reminiscing to when listening to Mazzy and then
well,
thinking to
for
myself,
2 years,
boy,
I got my
those
driver's
days, right?
license in 1970, right at 16, literally. My mother worked at a department store called the Emporium, women's shoe department. And so after school at 2 o'clock, whenever I got out, I would take the bus to where she worked. I'd pick up her car, which was a 1968 blue Buick Skylark with a blacktop blue
I know that car. Sweet
two-door.
car.
And I'd borrow her car, and then at 5:30, I'd pick her up. So like 3 hours after, I'd have the car, driving around with my buddies, going to the record stores, picking up my girlfriend, hanging out. I didn't have so I could always use her car because, on the weekends or nights, she didn't need it. And my dad.
Did that have a console shift
No,
or
it
a
was
center shift? Or
no,
a
it was a
column or a
console.
console? So
Well, it was an automatic. It was an
front
automatic.
bench seat, so you could have your lady could scoot all the way up against you.
Yeah, it was a bench seat. Yeah, so
Yeah.
we could fool
You could
around
cram
in the
him
back
in.
seat a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad's car had a standard steering, so it was like you're turning.
Oh, no power steering.
Oh,
Yeah.
no power steering
Yeah.
whatsoever or nothing, right? It was a killer. But hey, it suit my purposes, trying to pick up girls and stuff like that. But
What part of Ontario were you in when you were?
I was
that
living in Toronto at that time.
age? Okay.
Like
All right.
I was born in Montreal, but I moved to Toronto when I was 16. So, and when I was in high school, and we lived in Toronto ever since then. And
Was it?
yeah.
Did you find, being French Canadian? Was it a culture change at all for you moving from Montreal to Toronto?
Okay, so we were pretty much bilingual in our family. Like my father's side, they spoke more French, but they did speak a bit of English, but more French than anything. On my mother's side, they were English, so we kind of had like English and French in the house, right?
Yeah.
And especially like if my dad was mad at me, he'd say, "Johnny Tabarnak," which
does
is
that
a
mean?
swear word, right?
Okay.
Tabernacle, right? Or something like that. But no, but we kidding aside, we spoke both language basically, right? But I remember moving to Toronto and I used to be called a frog, right? Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
interesting.
frog. That was
Is that like a French slur?
well, it's kind of like an insult to
Okay.
the French.
Yeah,
French
it came
Canadian
about
people,
again
right?
during the Freedom Fries thing when they were all pissed off at the
Oh.
French not supporting some
You know,
of our wars.
but yeah, yeah, and then we lived in Toronto for after that, and
And how close are you to Toronto now?
okay, right now I'm in St. Thomas, Ontario, so I'm probably 2.5 hours from here to Toronto.
Like what direction?
East to go east.
Okay.
I'm about an hour and a half from Detroit, Michigan, Detroit,
Oh,
Windsor,
really?
Windsor
Okay.
border. So I'm about an hour and a half
So
from there.
what's the lake that you're closest to?
Okay, we have well, actually, when I go south from where I am, it's about 10 minutes to Port Stanley, and that is Lake Erie.
Okay.
And then and it kind of goes like this, and then it goes into Lake Ontario further up, like further east,
Okay.
goes into Lake Ontario. So I'm Lake Erie, pretty much right across the border right across really from Pennsylvania.
And you're
Not too
retired
far.
now?
Oh yeah, we retired. My wife retired at 55. I retired at 58.
Can I ask you what you did?
Okay, I did several things. I worked for the TTC for
What's
quite
that?
a while. Toronto Transit Commission.
Okay.
Then I left that, and then I worked for a printing company. Right.
So the transit, do you have a government pension?
I left before the government pension. I had to leave because I really couldn't. I couldn't handle the. Trust me, driving a bus it wasn't easy.
Yeah, no,
It was the
I
people
get it.
people thing, right? And it took a lot of thinking about leaving, right? So I thought one day I just decided that it's not worth it. But I did drive the bus and I drove the trains, the subway trains, you know. And I was a collector in a collector's booth where they sold the tickets and stuff as
Oh,
well. So
so Toronto has a subway system.
oh yeah, I drove the trains
Okay.
in the subway system as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so I did all that, and then decided to go into the printing trade, and I
Like
started. I took a
newsprint or what?
well,
What kind of stuff?
well, it was it was a big printing place where they printed TV guides and stuff like that.
Okay.
So
So
I
magazine type
yeah, so
thing.
I tried to get into the union in there because I took a course in George Brown for it's called film stripping, where it's you take the film and you make the plates for the printer
I
and
know
all
what it
that
is.
stuff
Yeah.
and screenshots and all that of the thing. So I took a course in that in George Brown, so I was kind of interested in that direction for quite a while, and then I transferred to something else, and after that,
Were you into
So you're
music
basically
during
like
that?
a hippie and you can't hold a job, right?
Yeah, that's like me.
well, I was
I'm kidding.
yeah,
If anyone's
no,
upset, I'm
it's
kidding.
no, it's true. I was my
Smoking a little of the weed, the reefer
no,
outside that printing plant.
I never did
Yeah,
that. Except
you're using that paper, that printing paper,
yeah, right.
and rolling up a.
Listen, no, but actually before that printing company, I went into a place where they made it was an engraving place where they took what do you call it?
Like
Things
metal
where you
plates,
engrave the names into
like
this
for
metal.
trophies and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
like well thicker.
Like,
even like
did you, how many of the, your business, I bet you the thing you did the most was world's greatest dad on a trophy.
Right.
yeah, no, I didn't do that. But
Okay.
so I had my hands in different things, type of thing,
Yeah.
right? But
You're a
then
man
I
after my own heart, Johnny.
You're like
I've
a
done lots of
drifter,
things.
like Woody
Yeah.
Guthrie. You're just
Yeah.
like backpack with your guitar,
Variety is the spice of life.
going
Did you like
across
music,
great
Johnny? Were you into records?
trudging through the
Um,
tundra.
when I was my mother had a stereo and it was like a no-go zone. She didn't let me, so I had to resort to a friend of mine gave me a record player, so and they couldn't afford to buy me records, obviously. So I had summer jobs and stuff when I was 17 in a roofing company, loading trucks with big asphalt, pitches of asphalt, and the whole bit, right? Stuff like that. So my brother was a salesman in one of those places, so he got me that job for the summer and there. So I saved up all my money and I got some records, and and back then they had boots. It was a style then. They had jeans, flare jeans, where the
Mhm.
bottom was like it wasn't bell bottom, but it was flare,
Like that?
like
Yeah.
smaller than bell bottoms. So I was into that kind of scene, right? And the boots that I bought was like the heels were about about this big, and it was a long boot type, kind of like, let's say, not like a Kiss boot, but it was like
Platform.
went up to the calf, right? So I bought those. I thought it was pretty cool, and leather jacket and stuff
Did
like
you
that.
used
So
to go to the roller rink, Johnny, when you were young?
oh, I wouldn't touch roller skates. I was kind of scared on those roller skates. Because when I was a small kid, very very small, I was I had a pair of roller skates. The ones with four wheels on one roller skate type thing. Those metal ones.
Mhm.
Don't they all have four wheels?
No, some of them have two, or some of them
Those are
have
ice-
the
Those are roller blades. Yeah.
roller
Oh,
blades. Yeah,
rollerblades.
but
Okay.
That was later.
the ones that had four, and anyway, and I ended up falling, and I fell on my leg or something. It ended up I had it was like I sprained my leg right when I was a kid, and ever since then I kind of had a phobia about wearing those things. You can't stop or nothing like that. I couldn't stop or nothing. My sister was with me, but she didn't stop me.
How did
in a
all
good-
this happen in 1974? That's the point of this.
No, that's way before when I was really really
Johnny,
really
Paul
small.
and Paul and Herc want to take you to lunch. Can they take you to lunch? Come show up at your door and take you to lunch?
Sure, if they want.
Okay.
I don't
You
think
get-
they'll get by the. I don't think they'll get across the border, but
You're cleared, Paul, to show up at Johnny's house.
but yeah. So it was all right, and stuff. So, but I had records, like you said. I had Nazareth. I had Uriah Heep. I was into that kind of stuff, and
When did the doo-wop take your
well,
interest?
basically, I think after Beatlemania, which I got into after that, watching it on Ed Sullivan stuff. After Beatlemania, later on, maybe when I was in my early teens, I started listening to the old stuff. Like the Skyliners and the Diamonds and stuff like that. And I kind of, yeah, and I got into that eventually, listening to that stuff more and more, and I really ended up liking it for but I was still into the 70s rock stuff too.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't like just a snob and not say, oh, I'll just go into that kind of pigeonhole, right, and not try anything else. So I wasn't, like I said, Uriah Heep too, and Machine Head. What's that?
Deep Purple.
Deep
Deep
Purple.
Purple, and
Yeah.
Deep Purple and rock.
Pink Floyd and stuff like that. I was into that stuff too. So
That's Deep Purple's another that's another band that I've gotten other records from 74. They released Stormbringer and Burn in 74, which are both great albums. But then I've subsequently gotten some of their other albums too.
When was it 73 in Live in Japan came out, or 70?
Yeah, it's either 73 or 75. It was on either side of that. Great album though. Yeah, I really like, and there's a couple of documentaries on YouTube about Deep Purple, because they classify them. There you
72.
go. 72. Is that you had just talked about that on your live?
This is actually really good. This is the Stephen Wilson mix. I don't have my original anymore, but this is it's excellent, I thought.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have that one yet. That's one of the Deep Purple albums that I need to
I saw them open for a band called Malo at Winterland, and Malo was Carlos Santana's brother, was in Malo.
Oh, no kidding.
Their Latin rock band.
Okay. Did you like the hard stuff back then, Mazzy, too?
I liked Black Sabbath. I liked Deep Purple. I didn't really keep up with it as much. I got into a lot of the country rock and the singer-songwriters and the James Taylors and Jackson Browns and the psychedelic prog. I was more into King Crimson and Yes and Emerson, Lake and Palmer than the heavier stuff. And I think after, I don't know what order they came out in, but after Deep Purple and rock, and then what's the one with the purple cover?
Burn?
Machine Head.
Machine Head, yeah.
That was probably the end of my Deep Purple, and I kind of lost interest.
They got after that, it was like, is it Fireball and Taste?
Yeah, I kind of didn't keep up with them then. I was getting
after Richie Blackmore left. I think they lost a lot of their.
I agree. Yeah, Richie Blackmore was.
He went to Rainbow. Is that right? I think he went to
Rainbow.
He started his own
Rainbow.
gig.
Yeah. Richie Blackmore.
Then I got into other bands, and I mean, I'd see these bands open up on, Bill Graham had, like, I remember, I think that Malo show, it was Malo headlining, Deep Purple in the middle, and Black Oak, Arkansas.
Oh, wow.
And I was never into Black Oak, Arkansas.
Yeah.
And then, so, I mean, I appreciated it, but it wasn't something I wanted.
Did you listen at that time in the early 70s? Did you listen to any strictly country? Was that on the scene at all in San Francisco?
I was listening to not very little. I was listening to, obviously, Graham Parsons, Emmylou Harris, Burrito Brothers, the Byrds, the kind of alternative, country rock. Eagles. I like the Eagles. That Poco, those bands. And then in the mid 70s, I would get into the outlaw stuff. Waylon and Willie, Tom Paul, Glazer, and Gary Stewart. I did get into some, and then I got into old Johnny Cash. Actually, I got into Johnny Cash early. Johnny Cash and things like that. So the classic country. At that point, some of the big produced Nashville stuff didn't interest me. Although I did like Loretta Lynn and Tammy Wynette.
George Jones, don't forget him.
George Jones and Dolly Parton. Yeah, absolutely.
Dolly Parton.
What's his name? No, Porter Wagner and Dolly Parton.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they did a lot of albums together.
I love that stuff.
And Conway Twitty was a big deal there.
But I got into bluegrass a lot, and the Doc Watson. I saw him. He played like 5 nights at the boarding house, and went to see one of those shows. And so I'd see these people that would come in doing the roots music, because Jerry Garcia would do all the bluegrass stuff.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like Mazzy. I was kind of like into basically pretty much a little bit of everything,
Yeah.
you know, like country music. Yeah, definitely. Like my mother was into country, you know, Hank Snow and all that stuff, right? So, but I liked the classic country. This new country, I
It's
think
more
I can
pop
take it or
music.
leave it, you know. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So, but
Yeah.
How about like crooner stuff, like Sinatra and Bennett
oh
and
yeah,
Dean Martin and
yeah,
Ray Price? I really
yeah,
like Ray Price a
yeah,
lot, and
yeah.
Mel Torme.
Well, I have two
I
Nat
love
King
Mel
Cole
Torme.
Yeah,
albums.
it
I
was
have
great.
two Nat King Cole albums right here. I like Nat King Cole.
Yeah.
Nat King
Tony
Cole,
Bennett, yeah, well, Tony Bennett's, you know, the ultimate entertainer.
Yeah.
He was around for a while, quite a while. But
He had a long, long career.
oh, yeah,
His stuff with Lady Gaga is actually not bad.
that's right. It is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think he sang with um oh, who the hell is that? I'll come to me, but I know he sang with a lot of people. Tony Bennett. He was
Yeah, the I got into the Western swing stuff, and then because of Asleep at the Wheel and Commander
Oh,
Cody
yeah.
and
mm,
those bands, because of then I got into Bob Wills and the Texas Playboys and all that
Mhm.
stuff.
Is Pure Prairie League in there?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever owned their albums. I remember them. We used to sell. They were on RCA Records. We sold their records. I don't think I ever owned one.
Yeah.
I mean, they're good. There's also Michael Murphy and obviously Jonathan Edwards with Stardust
mm,
and that song Sunshine was a big top 10 hit.
mm.
Again, the singer songwriter stuff
Yeah.
was I'm a big and Jackson
Mhm.
Brown later and Linda Ronstadt, of course.
Mhm.
Do you know
Yeah.
Jim Stafford?
Yeah, not personally, but yes.
No, but I mean that I was
Yeah.
just listening to his
Oh, yeah.
74 album this week in the truck, and it's unique. It's
He had he had
yeah.
a kind of a corny song. I don't like spiders or snakes.
Yeah, some of his
Uh,
it's kind of
you know,
funny. Some of his
kinda
albums
weird.
or some of his songs are a little bit,
Yeah,
yeah,
more
tongue in cheek, maybe a little bit.
yeah, yeah, like novelty songs, you know, kind of thing.
Herc,
But
yes, I do love the new Tweety album. I need to listen to it another 10 times, but because
It's
it's a
it's really
tome.
good. It's good.
Yeah, it's so long, 3 discs. Do you like it, Herc? I'm a huge, I'm a huge Wilco guy, um, and so of course I love Tweety, and haven't been super impressed with some of his solo stuff in the last few years, but this album seems to be really good. I like it. I'll
Yeah.
probably get it on vinyl at some point. Mazzy, you have the CD, right?
And I got the vinyl too.
You did get the vinyl. Okay, were you about to say they sent it to me?
I was. They sent it to me.
All
so
right.
this Tweety thing,
And it's not Rhino. Okay. It's
It's not
Sony.
Rhino.
is it what genre is that? What genre
He's
is
kind of
that?
it's very folksy.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's folky country
Folk
rock.
rock,
But it's not
country,
rock.
yeah.
It's folk
Americana.
singer-songwriter Americana.
oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It's very accessible, but he's a good songwriter. There's a couple of tracks that have these great lush harmonies, like maybe the later Beatles stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a Beatle type thing.
Mm.
It's interesting to see, when I first started watching or paying attention to Wilco, Tweety's kids were toddlers. Now they're all grown up. Spencer is an incredible drummer, and he's got his other son, I think, playing with him too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty neat to see that. When I back in the early 2000s, Rochelle and I went to a solo concert at the Crystal Ballroom. Have you been to the Crystal Ballroom in Portland, Mazzy?
No.
It's the McMinimans brothers, and
Is
it's
that
up
the one right by
across from
what's the
Everyday
place
Music.
across from Everyday Music?
Yeah, that's the Crystal Ballroom.
Okay, I've seen it.
It's an upstairs venue, and
Right.
the floor is kind of suspended. So when the whole audience moves up and down, the floor moves like an inch and a half.
Oh, huh.
It's scary at first, but
Mm.
then what I was going to say is it was just a solo concert with Tweety, which was fantastic. He got mad at the crowd for talking over him while he's trying to do this intimate recording. But
Mm.
Glenn Cochi opened for him, which is the drummer for Wilco.
Oh.
And it was, imagine just a percussion opening act. And he had this one song where he had all these little tiny boxes on this table, and they were full of crickets. And he went and he opened up each one of these little boxes, and then the crickets started going. Probably 30 little boxes. And the crickets started going, and he had a mic down on him, and then he did a number with these crickets going. It was fantastic. But at one point he broke his stick, and it went flying, and Rochelle still has the end of his drumstick, which was
And
kinda
PETA wasn't there protesting this in Portland?
cruelty to crickets. Yeah. That would be the place for
Send
sure.
in the National Guard for that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it was out of control. Yeah. No, it was great.
I love all the people dressed up in weird costumes and
Oh, man, at the ice facility, there's the guy in the chicken suit
Yeah.
there and all these different things.
I mean, it just seems how ridiculous that all is, you know?
It is ridiculous. It's totally fabricated. Yeah.
Yeah. I think they resorted to where doing that stuff. I think maybe they did that wearing all these character outfits and stuff, maybe to make it look like they're less as threatening as everybody says they are type thing. Look at, we are wearing all these
But
cartoons.
that's how it always happens. Portland and Seattle. It's funny. Growing up in San Francisco used to be the poster child for West Coast liberalism in a lot of ways. But I tell you, Seattle and Portland are far further left right now than San Francisco is.
They are.
You
Yeah,
know,
absolutely.
maybe it's the techie thing you just saw the guy, which is really people are pissed off. You know, one of the big companies in San Francisco is Salesforce.
Yeah.
And that guy who runs Salesforce said, I wish Trump would send in troops to San Francisco. He's getting castrated, not
No
literally.
doubt.
you
No,
know.
metaphorically. Yeah.
When you say are they're left, what do you mean by left politically, or you mean they're
Left
Yeah.
politically and the wackiness, you know, I mean,
uh,
people used to talk about the wackiness and, you know,
Mm.
no holds barred. I mean,
Mhm.
going back historically, going back to the 1800s, the gold rush, San Francisco, the gold rush town, the people would flock to San Francisco. They had the Chinese immigrants building the railroads and the gold thing. They had the prostitutes and the gamblers, and ever see Half Gun Will Travel, all that period in San Francisco. It was like a crazy Wild West town that was just anything goes, you know,
Mhm.
anything. And it kind of kept that reputation, and politically it was on the left. And, you know, I mean, obviously it was kind of one of the first big American cities, probably New York too, to some extent, but San Francisco, gay rights, gay liberal, the big, you know, gay parades every year, pride parades where people are dressed. And you have the Folsom Street Fair going back 30 or 40 years where people are at that street fair, there's a lot of street fairs all summer around the city. That street fair, we had people wearing chaps. You know what chaps are? The leather things with the butts hanging out. People wearing chaps who shouldn't wear chaps. You know,
Yeah.
hairy ass. I mean, it's not like hot women or guys wearing chaps. You got these hairy ass hillbillies. No offense to hairy ass or overweight, but shouldn't wear chaps. And it's like the leather thing is a big deal, but it's a fun weekend. I used to go with my son and my family, and it's just crazy. No one's hurting anyone, you know.
Right.
No one's like getting overly drunk, and but that still exists, but it's more prevalent, I think, in Portland and Seattle now.
But you said you used to go there with your kids and family. How old were your kids when you went there, though?
6, 7.
Because what I'm getting at is some of them could go to really overboard. Like they had gay pride in Toronto and all that, and some of these men were like had nothing on, and there was kids in the audience standing to watch.
Yeah,
like I would have just taken my kids and
but
went away.
but it's up to you and your parent, and it's up to you.
Yeah, I know.
And the thing is, if you're going to go there, you got to know what to expect.
But even the organizers of the gay pride parade, you know, kind of said, yeah, they have to tone it down a little bit.
Yeah, I have no problem with
Yeah,
toning.
you're always going to have people that are going to push the limit. That's
There's
Yeah,
always-
radical,
it's like-
more radical than
Like
than
on
really
on Rachel's stream this morning, I was referring to all, like, there's more violent in a city like San Francisco or New York or Milwaukee when the Super Bowl team wins the day after.
You got a
People get
point there.
fucked up. They shoot guns in the air. They shoot, you know, fireworks. They break things. They break windows. I don't condone that at all. But people get crazy. They're drunk assholes after a big sporting win. And that's worse than what happened in Portland or
yes,
Seattle.
much worse. And they're not overturning cars and stuff like that, like they do at sporting games. Yeah, absolutely.
They were lighting sofas on the fire in the Mission after the Giants won the World Series.
Yeah.
Stupid as hell. But because of a fucking baseball game.
Yeah, even soccer games, they go nuts.
Right, but no one sent in the National Guard to, you know.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like it's calmed down a little bit more than it did. So
It wasn't anything. It was one block. It was 25 people.
in that area, I'm saying, in that area.
It was 25 people. One block.
Yeah. Well, I'm going back to when Portland was really a lot of the people, and back in, was it, what year was it? Where they really burnt stuff down and everything. That was
So
really
that
bad.
was still just one block, and it was
Yeah.
it was during the pandemic. So,
Yeah.
like,
Pandemic was
we can
very
all
bad.
condemn the BLM riots and stuff like that and how that got out of control, but you really have to look at the time that it was, where people were shut up in their homes for a
Yeah,
long time,
crazy
and
time.
agree or
Yeah.
disagree with lockdowns. There's a lot of criticism that can be levied at that, but that was really a byproduct of what was going on, and of course,
Mm.
um, we had we had a tyrant in the White House, and people weren't having it. So you're going to get places and especially on the coast, is basically the Trump's opposition. Those are the people who disagree with him, and so you're going to have extremists in those scenarios
Mm.
under a pandemic that are going to come out like
And
that.
if Trump is so upset about that footage he shows now that happened 5 years ago, why didn't he send anybody in 5 years ago? I mean,
Yeah,
he didn't then, and it didn't last very long. It was dumb. Riots happen in cities, and
they
you
do
know,
happen.
and
Yeah.
and usually what happens, a governor will request federal troops, like Kent State. Unfortunately, that got out of hand, and students got
Yeah, it
killed.
did. Yeah.
But sometimes federal troops are warranted. I don't agree necessarily with that, but it's up for the government and the locals to say, "Hey, help us right now." And they didn't
Mhm.
do that. In fact, they're saying, "Don't send these." The Chicago, in Illinois, people don't want them. They don't want them in California. They don't want them in Portland. There's
Do
a
you
lot of
think
other
it's
cities that happen.
Do you think it's a setup for, I mean, there's kind of some jibber jabber about them, Trump declaring the Insurrection Act and then using this to kind of cause trouble in the midterms. People are kind
Oh.
of speculating about that. I guess we have to see, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if there's some premeditated movement behind what's going
Yeah.
on right now. So
Mhm.
we'll have to see. Hey, it's hour and 22 minutes, and I gotta
Oh,
go. My parents are going to Ireland this week for a couple months, so I gotta go down and hang out with
thanks.
them.
Thanks for
And
having me on. I didn't want to
yeah,
come on to ruin your show, but then I
Johnny,
thought,
stop.
oh,
No, you're
I'm
not. It's always
because
good to see you.
I don't really have anything to offer except
You
stuff
have a
like
lot to
come up
offer.
with.
You're a
Yeah, I'm here to
human
ask you
being.
questions too. Yeah,
You're
I
a
like
human
hearing about
being.
your past.
It's
Yeah.
only Big Ian here who has more to offer than any of us. So I'm saying shout out to Big Ian in the audience right now.
But I'm glad, Marty, that you
And
really
Dagan.
sold some records and stuff.
It was fun. I had a
mentioned
really, really
some.
good time, and just
And you
hanging
did
out with
mention that they
Michelle.
had lots of old records there too, which was caught my ear, like 50s
There,
and 60s
there was
stuff.
I found a few dealers that had
Really?
some older stuff
Wow.
too, but I didn't again I didn't do a whole
Yeah.
lot of digging. I was
Yeah.
mostly there to hang out.
Sell
So
stuff. Yeah, of
if
course. Yeah. Yeah.
I posted a picture on my Instagram, if anybody wants to follow my Instagram, it's Marty in Oregon, and
I saw it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I saw your comment there,
Yeah.
Johnny. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So if anybody wants to keep tabs of what I'm doing in the truck and on the side, but other than that, have a great week, guys, and
Thanks a lot, Mark.
best wishes to all of
Mazzy, I'm
you.
glad you spoke to me today.
I,
You don't answer my things, but
when
that's okay.
people inbox me at
I
places I
know.
don't
I'm
know.
only ribbing you. I'm only
know
ribbing
you
you.
are.
I know. I know you're a busy guy too, so it's like,
But I mean, anyway, yeah.
it's all right.
Best wishes to all of you, and have a
Yeah,
wonderful
thanks.
Sunday afternoon, guys. You take care.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.